Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 1. In the last episode, after we finished attending the ceremony that the village of Hinamizawa held, we ran into Takemine, or whatever the photographer's name is. I can't ever seem to remember his name properly. Well, although to be more accurate, we met him during the festival, and he decided to come with our invitation, attend some shooting game that the group decided to hold in order to try to get several prizes for ourselves. After the festival concluded, I ran into him again along with a female associate of his that he was apparently meeting up with, and through the both of them, we learned that there's been a series of murders, suicides, and strange accidental deaths, that have been occurring within Hinamizawa ever since the murder of the foreman of the dam project several years ago. On a very annual basis, in fact. Every year, around the same time that murder happened, almost without fail, somebody would end up dying of some sort of bizarre circumstance or another. Leading there to be a rumor to begin circulating that might be the result of a curse that the guardian deity of Hinamizawa, Oyashiro, might have placed on the place after the murder occurred at the dam. So it was very interesting. It was very interesting and honestly somewhat unsettling hearing all these details. But well, we were assured after hearing everything, once it became clear that we were a little rattled by what we heard, that it's all just a series of coincidences. But well, frankly, I don't believe for a second that they're coincidental. Bit by bit, we're learning more about some really big, sinister mystery that appears to be hiding underneath the nice little surface of Hinamizawa. But what exactly is it's going to lead us to once we get to the core of it, whatever this mystery is, well, I imagine it won't be a good spot we'll find ourselves in. So let's just go ahead and get started on the new chapter. See what kind of crazy hijinks we're going to get into today. Good morning. Nice job yesterday, Kei-chan. You didn't do so badly yourself, Mion. Yesterday was fun. Oh, that's right. Keiichi-kun, thank you very much. For Mr. Bear. I'm glad you like it. Don't use it as a pincushion, though. I wouldn't. Still chatting happily, we entered the classroom. But the moment I stepped into the room, a splashing sound and a nasty sensation. It was a bucket filled to the brim with water. Should have kept an eye for those traps, man. And unfortunately, my right foot stepped right into it. Mine now. How diligent of you to mop the floor this morning. Clump, clump, clump. Wah! Keiichi-san flicked my forehead! You should set a more brutal trap next time. Seeing that, Reina began to swoon as Mion looked on dejectedly. Everything was the same as always. Everybody was there, and nothing felt out of place. The uncertainties I'd had in the back of my mind since yesterday had vanished. What is it, Keiichi-kun? Didn't get enough sleep, maybe? Maybe? I slept like a log. But if you want, I'll do a reenactment during class. You shouldn't do that. Mion alerted us that the teacher was coming, so everyone shuffled off to their seats. Good morning, everyone. So yesterday was the festival. Thank you to all the people who stayed until the very end to help clean up. We were all slackers, so none of us actually helped clean up. Actually, I had a feeling that the only thing we did was run around the festival and cause a ruckus. Okay then. This time of year, you might see some people here from out of town doing interviews about the festival for magazines. I thought it was the usual stuff, so I was going to tune it out, but then I noticed a different tone in her voice and started paying attention. Let me guess, you want us to present as possible picture of the town as possible, and try our best not to bring up all the strange deaths that have been occurring over the years, right? You may be asked questions. Please don't say anything silly or something that could be taken the wrong way. Do you understand? In unison, everyone replied, "Yes, ma'am." What she said was really vague, but I understood what she was trying to say. After all, this was the 5th year. There were probably lots of third-rate reporters pouring in, hoping something regarding the curse had happened. It did nothing but perpetuate the village's bad image. She was saying, "Don't spout stupid shit you think is funny." And now I was one of ones who need to keep their mouths shut. I found it rather cute how I felt a sense of unity from such a trite thing, if I do say so myself. I was summoned to club activities after school. Since everybody was still pretty tired from yesterday, we just spent the day relaxing. Yeah, that wasn't happening. Today, let's play a classic game of deduction. How about this one? Oh, a game from overseas. Looks interesting. The instructions are in English, but the rules don't seem that hard. I won't lose, you hear? You're gonna lose. I'm not too bad at this game. It seemed that Reina didn't handle this kind of game very well. The rules are, the person who can match the murderer, weapon, and scene of the crime wins. There are 3 kinds of cards comprised of suspects, weapons, and locations. Strange how we're playing a game like this, given, well, everything that we've learned recently and what we are trying not to bring attention towards in regards to Hinamizawa. Namely, murders, deaths, accidents, and suicides. Probably a coincidence. I could see that the names Mion and Rika were written on the suspect cards. Oh, a card with my name on it as well. There are plenty of different weapons too, like knives, axes, and poison. The locations are pretty nice too, like the living room, the study, and the courtyard. So basically, you take out one of each of the cards. These are the answer cards. So we shuffle the remaining cards and hand them out. We ask each other about the cards and figure out the right ones. Ah, I see. So the cards nobody has are the true perpetrators. Then you raise your hand if you know the answer. The game ends and we check if the answer is correct. If you're right, then you get a point. If you're wrong, then you lose a point. Since the game ends, even if no one gets it right, all the cards are gathered up and redistributed. You'll learn as you go. You really have to use your brain. You'll get confused if you don't take notes. I'm sure I'll be fine without having to do any note-taking. The rest you can figure out by playing. So, Mion, What's the penalty this time? Everyone directed their attention to Mion. Let's see. We're all still a little tired from yesterday, so maybe we'll take it easy with a gopher penalty. You'll be asked to rush out and buy stuff for everyone. So just being asked to go buy stuff like drinks and candy, I guess. I feel like the penalty today is pretty simple. I wonder, is it really? What, do you want there to be a worse penalty? I had no idea you had a sadistic side to you. Is Keiichi-san thinking what I'm thinking? Yeah. You don't know what you'll have to go. You don't know what you'll have to go buy. I'm betting Mion would send out whoever loses to buy stuff like hemorrhoid cream or happy family planning manual or other crazy stuff. The cards were lightly shuffled and passed out to each player. The real perpetrator, the correct weapon, and the scene of the murder had been taken out. So that means all the cards I have in my hand are innocent cards. Then, I'll go since I'm the club president, I guess. Well then, Mion. Mion, knife, study. You pick one suspect, weapon, and murder scene and ask each person. If you have any of those cards, then you must say I have one. However, you don't need to say which one you have. Yeah, I got it. Me too. I have one. Oh my, all of them are here. 3 people answered when she asked if they had Mion, knife, and study. So that means that Mion and knife and study are all in the clear. Gotta jot that down. Then I'll go. Reina, axe, lounge. Only 2 people said they had one. So it means out of Reina, axe, and lounge, one of them is correct and is part of the crime. I'm going to take a guess and say that axe is part of the crime. No, wait. Even if they say they have one, they don't have to say how many. It's possible that either Satoko or Rika-chan has 2 of the cards. Well, Kei-chan is next. Go ahead. Wait just a little. I'm still sorting things out. The game has me thinking more than I thought. Oh man, this feels like it's going to be tough. Don't overthink things, man. Just keep calm and just analyze the situation carefully. Alright. Now I have the criminal. What? Already? Here I am spinning around in circles, and Mion just now raises her hand. The murderer is Rika-chan. In the infirmary with the poison. Well? Mion drew the cards from the box and would check to see if her deduction was right. You were right! I should have guessed Rion was part of the crime. Fuck. Yeah, all I needed was one more hand. I couldn't tell whether it was poison or a pistol. I never use a pistol. I like killing them slowly with poison. Rika-chan says such a hugely terrifying thing with such a sweet little face. Yep, she's got a sadistic bone in her body. Everyone was making a commotion about how they almost had it. Reina and I were left out in the cold, though. How did you do, Keiichi-kun? I couldn't get it at all. Don't worry. I had no idea either. How can you both be so unsure? You'll both end up in last place together at this rate. It's even worse. Going off buying something together as a couple. What if we ended up having to buy the Happy Family Planning Guide? That would be hilarious and unfortunate at the same time. Especially if a lot of people see you buying it with Reina. I can tell from Keiichi's expression that he's not very good at this game. What? That's not true. I'll show you the true power of Sherlock Maibara during the next round. My. That sounds just wonderful. I shall give you quite the thrashing. After that, I managed to somewhat grasp the trick behind the game, but I was still always a step or two behind. I saw that Mion was somehow gleaning information from how the others were asking their questions. That level of experience was just too much. The only way I could stage a comeback was if I became ruthless. I tossed out the simple concept of deduction and switched over to the thought process needed to win. The important thing isn't to find out the criminal. It's to win the game. Yes, but to win the game, you gotta find out the criminal. You're not thinking this through the right way, my friend. Eureka! Sorry, need to go to the bathroom. Take your time and squeeze out a nice one. Chan, that's gross. I had them hold off the game and head down the hall. The air was crisp. It showed just how stagnant the air in the classroom was from our body heat. On the school grounds, some of our classmates were still playing around. After spending some time cooling my head, Reina had made her way over towards me. Keiichi-kun, did you call for me? Yeah, I did. As I got up from my seat, I winked over at Reina. Glad it worked out. I don't want to waste much time, so I'll get right to the point. Reina, what's your record at this game we're playing today? She was taken aback. After a moment, she hesitantly opened her mouth. Well, all losses. Why do you ask, I wonder? You could tell from how apprehensively she was playing. I could tell, excuse me. The way things are going, I will as well. I can't figure out a way to pull off a last-minute comeback on this one. So, I guess both of us will be taking that penalty? Hey, don't accept defeat already. How about we win this? Both of us. But how can we? I brought my lips up to Reina's ear. Whisper, 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 whisper. Huh? Is that allowed? Did you forget, Reina? The second rule of our society. Do everything in your power to obtain victory. Yeah, I'll try my best. Our plan of attack was a quite rudimentary one. At the beginning of the game, everyone would be focused on their own hand for a while, taking notes and whatnot. Since our seats were right next to each other, we'd reveal our hands to each other. If we did it under the desk, then nobody would know. We begin the game with twice as much information as everyone else. Having this much information would mean we need to investigate less. With this sort of plan of attack, we start off with a big lead over the other guys. Yeah, with this we can probably win. We both smirked at each other. If I was a shady businessman, then Reina was the corrupt senator. Pleasure doing business with you. Now let's hurry back. We'll work as a duo to surprise everyone. Hey now, there's no point if we go back together. It'd be like flat telling them we made a little arrangement. Oh, sorry. Then what should we do? Go back ahead of me, Reina. I'll take my time coming back after washing my face or something. Okay, got it. Reina turned around and headed back to the classroom. I guess I should wait a bit longer before going back. If I went too soon, it wouldn't seem like I went to the bathroom. If Mion or one of them suspected something, then there could be problems. Well, they'd figure it out sooner or later, because both Rain and I would start winning over and over again. Both Rain and I will have earned enough points to avoid being the losers by the time Mion realized what was happening. Excellent! Or Reina could betray you and tell everyone what you two are planning. Not bad at all. Meibara-kun, may I have a moment? Huh? Teacher. Man, things are just getting good. What is it? I'm a bit... You have a guest. Please make your way to the entrance. A guest? It's not like I own a hotel. They have been waiting. Please hurry. It was rather unfortunate that I'd have someone waiting for me right before my big match, but I was more interested in the unexpected guest. I didn't want to waste any time, so I decided to take care of it quickly. The entryway was a heavy contrast from the hot sunlight and deep shadows. So, who are you? Waiting there, looking uncomfortably warm, was a middle-aged man, his tie sloppily loosened, and his jacket tucked underneath his arm. Are you Meibara-san? Keiichi Meibara-san? There was no question that he wasn't a resident of Hinamizawa, and that this was without a doubt the first time he had met me. Reporter? Ever since I met Tomitake-san, I've been running into so many middle-aged men. Tomitake isn't middle-aged. That's right. Who might you be? I have the AC on in my car. Let's talk there. It's a bit hot here, don't you think? I'd be very reluctant to get into a car with a total stranger. The man completely ignoring my question, pointed over to his car parked near the gate, and began walking. You gotta be kidding me. I have no intention of going along with some geezer I don't even know, and he was asking me to get in his car with him? I'm not going to bite. Come on now. He opened the back door of his car and called me over. I didn't like this old man, but I wanted to know what this was about. Even while knowing that conversations that start out like this had never led to anything good. The inside of his car was pretty cool. Cars with air conditioners were supposed to be a luxury. My dad didn't have one in his car, at least. Please let me know if it's too cold for you, okay? I have a habit of cranking it all the way up. So what business do you have with me? Out of spite, I decided to ignore his remark in the same way he did to me, and start my own line of questioning. He pulled out a notepad from his pocket and took out a picture that was stuck between the pages. On it was the face of a pretty goofy-looking guy. If you know anything related to this individual, then please tell me. What the heck is this? I doubt even his close friends would be able to recognize who he was from this expressionless picture that looked like it was taken at the DMV. There were scribbles on his shirt done in permanent marker. Starting with yours, Meibara-san, and quite a few of your classmates signed as well. Tomitake? Why do you want to know about him? Huh? This is... Tomitake-san? There was no hint of his usual unreliable and easygoing personality in this photo. It was an expressionless, half-asleep face. Then do you know this woman? Even before seeing it, I had a good idea of who it was. I don't remember her name. But she's some lady who was with Tomitake-san last night. I didn't know what her name was, but I did know she was a resident of Hinamizawa. When was the last time you saw these two? The night of the Watanagashi. We spoke. They seemed pretty close, I guess. Did anything bother you about them? Anything is fine. Go ahead and say it. Well, I guess the only thing that you could really say that really bothered me about them was how knowledgeable they were and how much of a strong interest they seemed to take within this Oyashiro curse. Other than that, though, I can't think of anything. Being asked for every little detail is very troubling, honestly. I had a pretty good idea of who this guy was by now. Did something happen to them? There was no response to my inquiry. Thus, I replied to that silence in kind. I was pretty sure, no, certain, that this guy was a cop. Then why? Why was he asking about Tomitake-san? Did something happen to him? More importantly, why me? Probably because you might have been the last person to have seen him along with this woman, if I had to guess. But then, if that's the case, that just begs the question. How does anybody know? How would anybody know? Who knew that you were the last person to see them? But I don't really think that'd be possible, necessarily. They're probably just asking everybody that they can, who was at the festival. Shouldn't there have been plenty of other people who knew more about him than I did? The roar of the air conditioner felt unbearably loud. After a long pause, he finally spoke again. You moved here just recently. Isn't that right, Maebara-san? Are you aware, I wonder, about the stories of Oyashiro-sama? Okay, you're bringing those up. Something happened to him, didn't it? Was he murdered? My heart began to race. I'm pretty terrible at hiding things. Probably showed on my face. Not at all. If you don't, then that's fine. Well, I have heard of it. Tomitake-san told me, actually. How much do you know about it? The dismemberment killing. The accidental death. The death by illness, followed by suicide. And the lady who was beaten to death. The incidents that always happened the day of the Watanagashi, ending in suspicious deaths. I didn't think Tomitake-san would have kept anything from me. I think that was everything. Yeah, I'm sure he had plenty of other stuff he knew. No. Rather, I didn't want to think there was anything more than that. Do you know of that? Well, curse, Maebara-san. Feel free to speak openly about it. I don't believe in it. My answer was instant. It wasn't so much that I didn't believe in it as I was on the verge of believing. I wanted to clear away my own doubts. That was the more prominent feeling. Really? Then that's great. Guess you really are one of those city-raised boys. So what if I don't believe? I have friends waiting, so could you get to the point? The man in this picture is dead. I fucking called it. What the hell happened to him? My mind went blank. Huh? What happened to Tomitake-san? It would seem that he died last night. That was the night of the Watanagashi. Do you understand the implications behind that, Meibara-san? I understand them perfectly, actually. My big question is, officer, based on your own investigation, who was the last person to see Tomitake alive? All I really know is that he went somewhere with that woman friend of his after everybody went their own ways. Beyond that, I have no idea what the hell happened to him. Implications. Not any for the cause of his death or the reasons behind it. The real problem is that he died on the day of the Watanagashi. So he probably could have died minutes after I last saw him, for all we know. Or hours, just well after everybody went home. Depending on when he was killed, if it was like less than an hour from when I last saw him, then the only other person that was with him around that time that I'm aware of was that woman. But for all I know, she could have gone her own separate ways too. Right around the time I left. I need to find out where everybody was exactly around the time his murder took place, or is it actually murder? All you said is that he's dead. How'd he die? Meaning, this year, the curse of Oyashiro-sama had once again. The death of Jiro Tomitake is still confidential. You can understand why that is, right? I didn't want to understand why. Please tell me. Tell me what happened. It was rather peculiar. It might be a little too graphic for someone born and raised in Hinamizawa. It was a roundabout way of saying it, but it caused me to doubt whether or not I wanted to hear the rest. I would only regret forcing myself to learn of something I shouldn't. Or at least that's how I figured I would feel if I listened to the rest. One of our patrol cars discovered the body on the way back from the security detail at the festival. Wait, that's what that tip thing I saw last episode was? The one with the patrol cars coming across a body? That was Tomitake, then. Oh, shit. It was late. About 5 till midnight. 5 to midnight. I'm trying to remember. What was the time that Keiichi and Tomitake went their own ways after the festival concluded? I'm going to assume it's sometime at least past 10 at night. I can't for the life of me remember if a time was ever mentioned. The location was, you know where the road into town becomes paved, right? Down past the slope, on the shoulder around there. There were a few streetlights on that road. Its pitch-black darkness was only broken by the lights of passing cars and the moon. An ideal location then to kill somebody, since there's a lot of dark areas. It was a stroke of luck that Tomitake-san was spotted collapsed on the shoulder of the road. Tomitake-sen was face down, covered in blood. Blood and muck covered the asphalt. He thought it was a hit and run at first. But when the officer checked to see if he was still alive, he quickly noticed something abnormal. His throat had been ripped open. Definitely murder, then. From a knife or something? No. Nails. What, you mean like construction nails? Like you used to board up wood? Nails? As in fingernails? Those he clawed through? From the coroner's report, it was revealed that it was with his own nails. What the fuck? He clawed open his own neck? Huh? What? What does that mean? Basically, it means it wasn't a murder. It was suicide. Tomitake-san thought there was a reason to tear open his own throat. As hard as he could with his own nails. Tore through the skin until he started to bleed. This reminds me of that one little physical or mental condition. I forget what exactly it is, but it's... I know there is a name for it. But it's a condition where someone can end up feeling a sensation of insects crawling underneath your skin. So that might cause someone who's experiencing such an episode of that to want to try to claw under their skin or scratch at the areas that they're feeling the sensations from in order to try to get it to stop or to get the insects out. I know the term for this, but I can't remember the name for it. Was it something like that? It's a real condition, by the way, whatever the hell I'm trying to remember. Tore through his skin till he started to bleed. And even then, Tomitake-san didn't stop. He continued clawing. With enough intensity that it could have peeled off his nails. Still clawing. Still clawing. Then, as his nails reached those vital arteries that you should never damage, he continued clawing. Splurt. Blood splattered on the ground around him. As he bled, while gasping for breath, he collapsed. His body spasmed, and he died in agony. We thought drugs were to blame, but nothing in that nature was detected. So no drugs in his system? Okay. But this... it was suicide? I never heard of such a thing. This unnatural way of dying. If this wasn't a mysterious death, then what was? The way he died. In these 5 years, his death most resembled that of a curse. As if to show both myself and Tomitake-san, who proclaimed there was no such thing as a curse, that we were wrong. Could be a real freaky coincidence, though. Let's not leave that possibility off the table. There were a few more suspicious details. Like what? From his body chemistry, perspiration, epilation, and so on, we conclude that he was in a state of hysteria right before his death. So he hallucinated whatever he was trying to claw at? Kind of like, again, that condition I was referencing. So I'm now wondering, was it some extreme version of that? Enough to where he actually clawed his own neck out and bled to death? Because I don't remember how severe such things can actually get. I know it varies depending on the person. But I don't recall ever really hearing any instances of someone clawing their own skin open and flesh open enough to a point where they ended up cutting some arteries and bleeding to death. That probably did happen, for all I know, at some point in somewhere in the world, but I don't know how likely that sort of thing is what I'm trying to say. That was a given. It's hard to believe someone could be in a sound state of mind while clawing out their throat. Wounds on his hand matched a scarred piece of lumber found nearby. Lumber. There are traces where he struck trees and the guardrails within. Tomitake-san's blood was found all over the place. Meaning that while he was tearing at his own throat, he was swinging around a piece of lumber. Okay. I think usually when people get that insect under my skin sensation with this condition, I think that's typically what most people focus on, is just clawing at the spots they feel the imaginary insects from and just trying to get them. I'm not saying that trying to grab something and swing something while doing that is necessarily impossible, but it sounds unlikely to me, given what little, admittedly, I do know about the condition. There were external injuries, which were not self-inflicted, discovered on Tomitake-san. Okay. There is a high probability Tomitake-san was assaulted. The external injury suggests there may be multiple suspects. Multiple suspects having assaulted him. Okay, so he was possibly assaulted by multiple assailants. Probably grabbed that piece of lumber to fend them off. But then either during the assault or sometime after it occurred, he started going into some form of hysteria and started clawing at his own throat. And then, well, killed himself by severing some vital arteries. Now I wonder, what relation do these assailants who inflicted these external injuries on him have to do with what happened in his fit of hysteria? Like, are they connected somehow? To summarize, Tomitake-san was surrounded and attacked. While wandering the night roads in a state of panic, after being cornered, he picked up a piece of lumber and tried fighting back. Somewhere in there, he began madly tearing at his own throat, clawing at it. Then, he died. The presumed time to death was around 9:23 p.m. Okay, so... Okay. Keiichi, tell me, what were you doing around that time? Meaning, it occurred right after you finished talking to Tomitake-san at the festival. Right after we talked to him! So if it was right after that we talked to him, and, okay, he left with that woman that we talked to last night with him about the curse. If they did leave the festival area together, what happened to her? Where did she go? Everyone signed Tomitake-san's shirt and parted ways. Right after that. Oh yeah, he should have been with a woman. What about her? She's missing. missing. She hasn't shown up to work, and she hasn't returned home either. There's a very high probability that she was involved in this incident. But if she was with Tomitake when he was attacked by these assailants, what if she was murdered and then had her body tossed down into some woods somewhere or something? There is a possibility that she could be dead, for all we know. Assuming that these assailants' intent was to actually try and kill Tomitake, and I guess, well, the woman who was with him, if she was indeed with him at the time this incident occurred. I need more information. For a while, I could only gaze off into space. I never would have thought that something unfortunate happening to somebody close to me could affect me this deeply. You weren't exactly close to the guy, per se, but close enough, I guess, to where it's shocking, and understandably so, mind you. I'm not faulting you for feeling the way you do. The time I had spent with Tomitake-san was short, but we went to the same festival, spent time together, and took part in the same competition. He was one of us. We have been continuing the investigation on various fronts, but when it comes to Orishiro-sama's curse, the villagers here aren't very cooperative. That I knew well. I would have been none the wiser if not for Tomitake-san, the outsider, telling me. So that's why you came to me? Because I'm not originally from Hinamizawa. I should have been angry that was the reason he wanted to hear what happened from me. If things go the way they have been, then the conclusion would be that Jiro Tomitake died from Orishiro-sama's curse. But you don't think that's necessarily what happened, do you? I think the fact that you go into Keiichi like this, because he was not from this town originally, and very recently moved in here, tells me that you suspect that foul play had to have been involved somehow, and that somebody from this village might be involved. I can understand that suspicion at least, given everything that we know so far, but that doesn't really explain Takamine's suicidal hysteria, frankly. I don't know how you could cause someone to react in that way. So, The night of the Watanagashi, during that sacred ritual, he callously snapped off photos, angering Uyashiro-sama. That's how it's going to turn out. There's no way Orishiro-sama would inflict divine punishment on Tomitake-san. Tomitake-san had to have been killed by humans. In a cowardly group, no less. There's no way I'm going to let this end up being the fault of some curse. I think so as well. There's no such thing as divine punishment or curses. The tense mood was cut with the man's hearty laugh. That's how this must be, my Bara-san. Cooperation from individuals in Hinamizawa who don't believe in the curse is indispensable. Understand? Neither Tomitake-san nor I believed in curses. But with the way things were going, it would just end up with Tomitake-san's death marking the 5th year. Which would mean that Hinamizawa had rejected Tomitake-san. That was something couldn't allow. Tomitake-sen was one of us. As far as you are concerned, anyway. But what about the rest of the village? Can you really say for sure that they felt the same way as you did, Keiichi? I have no proof one way or the other, but something tells me they didn't feel the same way about him as you do. He didn't live in Hinamizawa, but he came every single year. In a sense, he was more of a resident than I was. There was no way that Tomitake-sen could have been cursed by Orishiro-sama. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that this is indeed the work of a curse. Can you honestly claim to know Orishiro-sama's intents? What would exactly piss it off enough here to curse somebody like Tomitake? How do you know for sure? How do you know for sure that's something that the entity wouldn't do? But there is nothing I can do to help. I have no idea what happened that night either. No. If you see or hear something that draws your attention, then that is enough. If I see or hear, he was talking in the future tense. Things, or people, or rumors. Anything is fine. You don't have any solid leads at all, do you? As to who could have done this. If you're just searching for literally any little scrap of information like this, there must be no real evidence at the scene at all as to who exactly killed him. I don't care if they're unfounded. Here. This is my number. If I'm not up there, then just leave a message with whoever picks up. He handed me a piece of paper with his number on it, but I hesitated for a second. If I took it, then whether I wanted it to or not, I'd be mired knee-deep in this matter. I say you're already plenty deep enough as it is. Please help me solve these questions surrounding Tomitake-sen's unfortunate death. That's right. Why was I hesitating? I need to find the murderer who killed my friend. I snatched up the piece of paper as a satisfied grin spread across my face. Everything we spoke of today is a secret. Please keep this confidential. Understood. From your friends as well. Especially from Sonosaki-san and Furuti-san. Please do not inform them. Why those two in particular? Sonozaki? You mean Mion? Why? Are you saying they have something to do with the incident? With my friends' names brought up so abruptly, and being told to keep it a secret from them, I became rather angry. This is what they call investigative privilege, I suppose. Don't play games with me! Mion is a close friend of mine! I snapped at him, but he didn't seem to especially be offended. I wouldn't mind telling you, but it may just upset you. Tell me what? Say it! He hesitated a little. Turning his gaze to the outside of the car, he began to speak after thinking for a bit. There is a possibility that the string of incidents happening here of Hinamizawa are a result of a village conspiracy. I guess that is a possibility. Do you have any evidence to support that, though? There's no way that could be right. Give me a break. First of all, is there any proof of that? No evidence. Also, each of the cases were resolved, and none of the perpetrators had any direct connection to the village. Then how'd you come to that conclusion? Every year, the enemies of the village die on the day of the Watanagashi. Don't you think that's reason enough to suspect something? Only the residents of Hinamizawa felt that the day of the Watanagashi was sacred. So basically, because incidents happened on that day, it was somehow related to Hinamizawa? Well, we're the only village in this area that celebrates this particular festival, right? So, I mean, yeah, I guess I can kind of understand why, you know, you'd get suspicious of these deaths happening at this one area, in this one village out in the middle of nowhere that probably is the only one celebrating this one festival. Yeah. First it was the damn construction foreman. Then it was a villager that supported it. Those the village hold a grudge against die one after the other from mysterious causes. The means are different, but in the end the result is the same. Unfounded, unreasonable suspicion. I wouldn't say it's entirely unfounded or unreasonable. There is something a bit bizarre going on here. But it couldn't just be shrugged off. So, the victims after that. What about the Shinto priest and his wife's death? They weren't enemies of the village. The villagers had expected the leadership from the Shinto priest at the time of the dam dispute. But he wasn't proactive, so there was a faction of villagers who harbored ill will toward him as a result. Ill will? It's not like he did anything bad to the village. What about the housewife after that? Did she die just because she was the wife of the brother of a supporter? That's such a trivial reason to kill someone. Yeah, well, there are people out there that will kill other people just for merely existing, just for being born wrong in some way, or for circumstances that were entirely out of their control. There doesn't have to be a solid reason behind why somebody would want to kill anybody else. We're special like that, us humans. Keiichi. And what about Tomitake-san? He's not affiliated with the damn project at all! Was he killed just because he was an outsider? In the beginning, it fell on those related to the dam project, but as the years went on, the enemy threshold of the victims had become much lower. Well, that's the scary part. The bar keeps getting lower. What's scary about that? It means it's just not enemies of the village anymore. Just being an outsider is reason enough. And if that's true, assuming that you're right, and that there's some village conspiracy going on, where people within this village are basically killing anybody that they perceive as enemies, or now, at this point, outsiders, then Keiichi, you could very well be in danger. And I guess technically so could Reina, because I don't think she's been here that much longer than you have. This could be bad. Then, next year's victim. They're just going to be picked out of the village outsider pool? It might be a person that just moved here. What do you mean by... What do you think he means? What do you think he means, man? Do you know anybody else here who moved recently, except you? I swallowed my words. Here in Hinamizawa, the ones who would be considered the most outside would be my family. I was proof enough of that, wasn't I? I still couldn't really remember the names of the people I passed by. Then, next victims. My family. Was he saying it was going to be me? I don't think he's really for sure saying anything here. I wouldn't go flying off the handle just yet, man. But what does it have to do with Mion? I can't go into details, but this... Yeah, no problem going into all the details up until now. Why be secretive about this? I can't go into the details, but the Sonozaki family led the damn protests. Quite fervently so. Wait a minute. That one tip in an earlier episode, where it talked about, well, the resistance movement the village formed against the dam project, why didn't I see it before? Didn't that tip mentioned the name Sonozaki, didn't it? About people named someone named Sonozaki leading such a group. Why didn't I see this before? This is also true of Mion Sonozaki-san herself. She has quite a few misdemeanor and obstruction of public worker offenses on her record because of the protests. I knew Mion knew what it meant to fight. It was the first I heard of her family leading the protests, though. Then, well, what did it all mean? Are you saying that Mion's family is involved in this string of incidents? I wouldn't go that far. I'm just saying that if it was a conspiracy, then they'd have the highest probability of being behind it. Not a very clear explanation. No, it's not. It felt like he'd magnificently avoided the details I really wanted to know. We don't know who or how involved anyone is right now. That is exactly why I don't want you to say anything to the villagers. Instead of answering, I gave a very bitter expression. It seems that he understood it well enough. Think of it like this. I don't want to worry the villagers who blindly believe it's the curse. How about that? What do you mean, how about that? How should I know? But the reasoning behind wanting me to not carelessly open my mouth about it wasn't too hard to comprehend. The perpetrator was here. It had nothing to do with a curse. He was definitely going to be caught by the police and made to pay for his crimes. And none of the villagers should have anything to do with that process. It may cause those sensitive about the curse to just worry needlessly. Just like everyone kept it from me so I wouldn't worry about it. Is it now my turn to keep it from them so they don't have to worry? I was just talking to myself. Unlike me, everyone else had been worrying over these mysterious incidents yearly. And the incident this time probably means a lot more to them. I didn't want to burden them anymore. In the end, everything went as the man had wanted, as insipid as it was. But it couldn't be helped. I understand. I'll keep it to myself. Is that fine? Mr. Ushi, from the Okinomiya police station. You can call me Kura-chan if you want. No. Ushi-san is fine. The way he said it was unpleasant, yet retained hints of politeness. He was the spitting image of a vulgar police officer. No, I've never seen one this bulky before in the cop shows I watch. I've taken up too much time. Your friends are waiting, aren't they? I should probably let you get back to them. The door opened with a click, and in streamed the oppressive heat. It was blistering outside of the car. Was it really this hot of a day? It was an almost cruel heat, as opposed to the mechanical coolness inside the car. It was as if the land of Hinamizawa itself suddenly hated me. I felt a little sad as the thought crossed my mind. I didn't mean to suspect your friends. Please don't misunderstand that. I refrained from telling him that it was too late to say something that self-serving. It's fine if you don't see or hear anything, Meibara-san. There is enough proof that the village is not involved. I'll contact you if I hear or see anything. But I'm no detective. Please don't expect too much from me. I won't. You don't have to become a detective. Just go on living as you have until now. Just let me know if you notice anything. I hastily made my way back to the school building after giving him a quick bow. See you later. Farewell, Meibara-kun. I returned to the school building without looking back. I don't know how much time had passed. I did feel bad for keeping them waiting, but right now there was a lot on my mind. Tomitake-san's death was hard enough as it was. But to think there was the possibility of a village conspiracy? Worse still, there was also a chance that Mion was involved. Well, not necessarily Mion, but somebody from her family. Nonsense. Impossible. Not Mion. Where did I get Rion? Not Mion, Reina, Satoko, or Rika-chan. It was a group that attacked Tomitake-san? Who could the perpetrators be? Could it be they were hiding here, somewhere in Hinamizawa? I didn't know. All I could say for certain was that I knew that Mion couldn't be the perpetrator. What proof do you have that she wasn't involved? I'm not saying that there's proof that she was involved at all. Don't get me wrong. But we don't really have any proof that she or somebody related to her wasn't involved either. Mi-chan! It's Mi-chan! The perpetrator! Huh? I was startled to hear Reina's voice. With the rope in the, lounge. Wahahaha! Nope! No! Reina clutched her head while flailing about. Looks like you're just self-destructing over here. Wow. Ah! Keiichi-san, you're quite late. As you may well know, I'm seething with anger. Sorry about that. I was called into the staff room, you see. You were reprimanded for bad behavior. That's a shame. Well, it's been pretty heated over here. Since it's getting pretty late, let's make the next game the last one. If I remember right, I had 0 points. Isn't it pretty much decided that I'm going to be finishing in last place? Don't worry, Keiichi-kun. I'm at -1 points. Oh. The heck? Her score is lower than mine and I wasn't even playing. This is the final match to decide if the penalty is going to be carried out by Reina alone, or by both Kei-chan and Reina. Yeah, right. Just let Reina do the penalty by herself. You made a promise, Keiichi-kun, that we would both win. I waited all this time, you know. You know? Sorry about that. I followed my initial plan of showing Reina my cards, but I didn't say who was the criminal and just waited for her to call. I got it! The murderer is me! With the poison at the entrance. Is it? Is it? My, Reina. Quite a quick answer. Another stab in the dark? Oh. Reina's correct. Oh! It's decided that Keiichi-san shall take part in the penalty as well. Hooray! Keiichi-kun, let's both do our best. Yeah, let's do our best. It's my fault, so I have no choice. Then that's game. It's me, Mio and Sonozaki, ranked first. And dead last are Keiichi Maebara and Reina Ryugu. Everyone applauded and the game ended. The problem now was the penalty. Now then, I ranked first, so I'll decide what you'll be buying for the gopher penalty. What will she make us buy, I wonder? Let's blacklist the drugstore. That was your aim, wasn't it? Huh? I don't have any business at the drugstore. This old man's already got a list prepared for you on this piece of paper. Oh, it's a lot written here. A lot? Damn, what is she making us buy? 2 blocks of tofu, shampoo and conditioner, apple vinegar and fried tofu. The heck is this? It looks more like a shopping list than a penalty. Mi was certain she was going to win today. Rule 7 of our society. You cannot refuse any penalty. Here's some money. The shampoo I usually get is Fruit Fable. Thanks. This is just your grocery list! I promised myself that if I won next time, I'd make her go buy hemorrhoid cream. That was a lot more tame than I was expecting. Not gonna lie. You should have made him buy hemorrhoid cream at least. You have received new tips. There are more than 4 perpetrators. And what was that last one? And search notice. More than 4 perpetrators. You mean for Tomitake's death, right? Hypovolemic shock induced by clawing out their own throat. Tissues packed under the nails. Not someone else's nails. It's undoubtedly the individual's own nails. The shape of the scars also matches. Yeah. I know the immediate cause of death was suicide. I get it. You're saying the cause of death is unnatural, right? Yeah, I would say that clawing out your own neck is an unnatural way to go. It's kind of like when your back itches and you scratch a little too hard and draw blood. Some of Tomitake's fingernails have been pulled out. It's actually quite simple to pull out one's own nails. But it really hurts. Under normal circumstances, the pain would prevent you from completely pulling them out. Also, there were a lot of bruises on Tomitake's body. It's clear from the shape of them that he was assaulted first by someone, or a group of people. According to the toxicology report, the deceased was in extreme state of hysteria right before death. Then he fought back and clawed out his own throat because of how hysterical he had become. The guys attacking him certainly would have been surprised by that. It's possible that, in such an abnormal environment, a person could perform acts that a sane individual couldn't possibly imagine. I don't know. I don't think that's really it. Of course, there are very rare cases. Those are very rare cases. Actually, Uishi-kun, that wood plank the deceased used as a weapon. They only found sand and the paint from the guardrail on it. What about cloth fibers or skin? Nothing. The deceased didn't strike the assailants. Or could it be they took the plank he was fighting back, or it could be they took the plank he was fighting back with. In that case, they wouldn't have gone out of their way to replace it with another. They'd take them all. Har 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 har! That's true. Tomitake's pretty built and tanned. He was quite athletic. That's right. He was pretty active. I can't imagine what kind of sports he did when he was alive, but I think his physical strength would be on the higher side, meaning he would be difficult to overpower in a brawl. If a man with such a physique sensed he was in danger and swung the plank around quickly, it's just unthinkable that it wouldn't even nick the perpetrator, and his opponent was unarmed. The guy had a wooden plank, so you'd think he'd hit him at least once. To surround and take down someone of his physique. I wonder how many people it would take. You dimwit. You should know better than anyone. Have you forgotten your bad cop days? If I was to take down this guy, how many would I need? When a group wants to take down big prey, it's fundamental to attack with numbers. I'd guess about 4. Even if there was a gap in their strength, they'd manage. Then there were quite a few perpetrators. So any drunken disorderly groups of more than 4 are suspicious. A group of 4 or more. If they had that many, then couldn't they have hidden the body in a less obvious location? Or did he somehow break away from that fatal predicament? Then there would be no reason to commit suicide. No rational reason, anyway. Moreover, I still can't comprehend the irregular way he died. It's full of mysteries. That's under serious consideration on my end, too. I'll be examining it as thoroughly as possible, but don't get your hopes up. After all, we've never encountered a death like this before. I'm not hoping for much, but I am looking forward to the results. Ushi-san, the chief is calling you. Thanks. See you around. Yeah, best wishes. So a group of at least 4 people, probably of moderate physical strength, compared to Tomitake, would have been needed to overpower him, or at least hold their own against him. And yet, Tomitake wasn't able to strike back at any of them at any point prior to his death. This is bizarre. Search notice. Jiro Tomitake, deceased. Resided in a cheap hotel in Shishibonen City. Registered under the name Jiro Tomitake. Pen name. So that's a pen name? Travels via folding bike. No license. The bicycle was found 300 meters away, abandoned at the side of a forest path. present on the day of the festival, accompanied by the missing Mio Takano. Is that the name of the woman that was with him? Was seen around 9 p.m. by police. Location afterwards unknown. Held residence in Hinamizawa for 1 week each season for the last 5 to 6 years. Freelance photographer specializing in wild birds. Check with magazine companies. Nothing suspicious in the film located among the articles of the deceased. Wallet was among the articles of the deceased. Mere act of violence. From the contents of his wallet, he spent most of his time around Tokyo and Chiba, along with the Sobu National Railway line. No individual matching the name Jiro Tomitake in the residency records of any of the Tokyo wards. Compared teeth to dental records. Sent to Metro Police. Attach a photo. Sent to Metro Police. Contacting magazines regarding Jiro Tomitake. Mio Tanako. Missing. Nurse at Irie Clinic. Became close to Tomitake through her passion for wild bird photography. Resides in Okinomiya District, Okinomiya X District, blank. Single. Witnessed accompanying Tomitake on the festival grounds. Currently missing. Abducted. Or maybe a suspect. An important person of interest. Had no motive to kill the deceased. As far as we're aware. Squabble from jealousy. Need to thoroughly investigate their relationship. Place of work, etc. Need to get information from the police on scene again. I want some cream puffs. 4 jumbo ones. Wushi. Okay. So, it looks like things are starting to get a bit more serious now. Well, with Tomitake's rather unsettling death, frankly. Now I'm a bit concerned about my own safety as well, even though I don't have much cause as of yet here to really be truly worried. But there is undoubtedly something very bizarre going on in this village. If there was any doubt about that before, I am dead certain that there's something fishy going on now. I just don't know. I don't know for sure what's going to happen in the next chapter. So, hopefully nothing bad, but whatever's going on is starting to escalate, it seems. From all the scary stuff I'm learning to the fact that, well, somebody I knew, at least someone in passing, ended up dying in a brutal fashion. I don't think there's any way that this can't come back to bite me, to come back to haunt me somehow. But I need more information on what exactly happened during his death. There's just all I really know for sure that apparently based on injuries there were likely multiple perpetrators involved, and yet Tomitake wasn't able to injure any of them as far as we know. And something, probably either from the perpetrator themselves or something, caused him to go into a hysteric fit and claw out his own throat. No matter how I look at it, it seems to me like there is something multi-layered to this guy's death, if that makes any sense. Like there's more to it than there's more to this than what little vague information we know. And I intend to find out what that is. So I think what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and cut the episode off here. And maybe we can try doing a little more investigation. Well, maybe Keiichi could do a little more investigation in the next episode. Because again, I'm not exactly playing a regular visual novel. I'm just going along for the ride, basically. I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 1. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you all next time. Take care.